We like to think we've got a pretty good handle on things, that our scientific knowledge is like a super detailed Google map of reality. But honestly, it's more like one of those ancient maps. The edges are beautifully drawn, but the middle is just this vast, blank space with a little note that says, "Here be dragons." Today, we're heading right into those blank spaces. We're going to go looking for the dragons.
And yeah, we are just jumping right into the deep end with this one. Just let that sentence sink in for a second. This isn't science fiction. This is a conclusion from a real astrophysics survey. It's a fact that just completely flips our whole picture of the galaxy on its head. And it's the perfect way to kick off our tour of the universe's biggest mysteries. All right, so first up, let's take a look at the local cosmic zoo. These are the specific, tangible things out there, the anomalies that we can actually point our telescopes at, that we can measure. But that's kind of where the understanding stops. These are the things that seem to be staring right back at us from the data, and they defy every clean explanation we've got.
When you picture a planet, right, you think of a solar system. It's got a star, there's light, there's warmth. That's the normal picture. But what if I told you there are likely more rogue planets, worlds that belong to no star, than there are actual stars in our galaxy? These are planets just drifting alone in the interstellar void, in permanent, cold, absolute darkness.
Now, logically, these things should just be frozen dead rocks. But here's where it gets really weird. A scientist named David Stevenson came up with this wild idea. What if a rogue planet had a super thick hydrogen atmosphere? It could actually trap the heat from its own molten core for billions of years, and that could create stable oceans of liquid water under the surface. It's a crazy thought, isn't it? The most common places for life in the universe might be on completely invisible worlds that we have almost no way of ever finding.
Okay, from invisible worlds to something you absolutely cannot miss. Back in 1979, this wave of energy just slammed into our solar system. It was so intense, it fried every single sensor we had pointing that way. Took us years to figure it out. But the culprit was a magnetar. Its magnetic field is about a quadrillion times stronger than Earth's. I mean, look at that last point. In 2004, a flare from a magnetar 50,000 light-years away was still powerful enough to physically squeeze our planet's magnetic shield. If one of these was just 10 light-years away, a flare would hit us with zero warning and just wipe the Earth's surface clean. Picture this. It's August 15th, 1977. A radio telescope in Ohio picks up this signal from space. It lasts for 72 seconds, and it is so perfect, so unlike anything else, that the astronomer who found it just circled the data on the printout and wrote "wow" next to it. And now, almost 50 years later, wow is still the best word we have for it, because it has defeated every natural explanation we've thrown at it.
So, what makes it so special? Well, it's like it was designed in a lab to be a message. First, it showed up on the exact radio frequency that scientists predicted an alien civilization would use. It's a quiet channel, a cosmic water cooler. It was incredibly strong, 30 times louder than the background static. It had no signs of being a natural event, and then, poof, it vanished. And in all the decades since, we've never heard it again. If you wanted to send one single unmistakable "we are here" message, it would look exactly like the WOW signal.
And speaking of one-offs, meet Tabby's star. This thing is just bizarre. Stars dim a little when planets pass in front of them, right? A huge planet like Jupiter would make its star dip by maybe 1%. Tabby's star has these massive, totally irregular dips in brightness, sometimes by up to 22%. Nothing we know of, comets, dust clouds, you name it, can explain that. And maybe the weirdest part of all, we have looked at hundreds of thousands of stars. Not a single other one behaves like this. It's a true anomaly, a sample size of one.
Okay, so we've seen some weird objects. Now, let's zoom out. Way, way out. We're moving on to the parts of the universe that seem to be put together wrong. These are colossal structures so vast that their very existence seems to violate the fundamental rules of cosmology. The map itself is shaped wrong.
Okay, I want you to look at this number, 10,000. Based on how big it is, this is how many galaxies our models say we should find in a giant patch of sky we call the Boots Void.
And this is what we've actually found. 60. Not 10,000, 60. The emptiness is just mind-blowing.
This void is 330 million light-years across. And here's the real kicker. Based on everything we know about gravity and how old the universe is, there simply hasn't been enough time for gravity to clear out a space this huge. It's too big, too empty, it shouldn't exist.
And it's not the only problem. There's also the cold spot. It's this giant, unusually cold patch on the cosmic microwave background that's basically the baby picture of our entire universe. Now, we did find a massive void of galaxies in that direction, which could explain some of the coldness, but it's not nearly empty enough to account for the temperature drop. The maths just doesn't add up. One of the more extreme theories? It's a bruise, an actual cosmic bruise left over from our universe bumping into another one.
All these giant, weird shapes point to a really terrifying possibility. See, there's this foundational idea in cosmology called the cosmological principle. It basically says that on the largest scales, the universe looks the same in all directions. It's uniform. But what if it's not?
Because the evidence that it's broken is really starting to pile up. We're finding that quasars, these super bright galactic cores, seem to be aligned in a way that suggests a preferred direction in the cosmos. And we're finding structures like the Hercules Corona Borealis Great Wall, which is a mind-breaking 10 billion light-years long. That's more than half the width of the observable universe. According to our models, nothing that big should have had time to form yet. If this principle is wrong, our most basic calculations about the universe's age, its size, it could all be off.
And that leads us to maybe the ultimate structural mystery: dark flow. We can see hundreds of huge galaxy clusters all being pulled in the same direction at incredible speeds. They're being pulled by something. And the spot they're heading towards is outside the boundary of our observable universe. So we can see the effect, but the cause is, by definition, something we can never ever see. It's forever beyond our reach. So for this final section, we're going even deeper. We're moving past strange objects and strange structures. Now we're going to question the very laws of physics themselves. We're not looking for cracks in the map anymore. We're looking for cracks in the foundation of reality. I'm sure you've seen this chart before, but I want you to really look at it. Back in 1998, we found out the expansion of the universe is speeding up. The mysterious force causing this is what we call dark energy, and it makes up 68% of everything that exists. It is the dominant component of reality, and we have absolutely no idea what it is. None. This really just puts our ignorance in perspective, doesn't it? All of physics, everything that gave us computers and GPS and space travel, it only applies to that tiny little 5% sliver of normal matter. This isn't just a small gap in our knowledge. It's a complete, fundamental failure to understand what 95% of our universe is actually made of. And finally, we get to what might be the deepest, most profound mystery of all. The universe, as we know it, runs on a set of about 26 fundamental numbers: the strength of gravity, the speed of light, the mass of an electron. Our theories don't explain why these numbers have the values they do, they just do. And here's the crazy part. They all seem impossibly precisely calibrated to allow for a universe with stars, planets, and life. I mean, just look at this. If you tweaked the strong nuclear force by just a couple of percent, stars couldn't form. No stars, no heavy elements, no planets, no us. If you change the cosmological constant by a fraction so tiny it's basically impossible to write down, the universe either would have collapsed in on itself in the first second, or it would have expanded so fast that not even an atom could form. Our entire existence is balanced on an incomprehensible mathematical knife's edge.
And that leaves us with this. The bedrock of our reality rests on a set of numbers that no one can explain. So what does that mean? Are we just living in the outcome of an unbelievably lucky cosmic coincidence? Is it a clue that points to something deeper about reality that we can't yet see? Or are we simply trapped inside a system, a kind of cage, where the ultimate rules of the game are permanently beyond our reach?